questions about your immune system, text in your questions about about surviving COVID. Warren is excellent when it comes to building immunity and answering questions about foods and meats and why your body hurts and how do you heal your body and what do you do to combat. And we're gonna talk about the Mediterranean diet. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but again, hi everybody, and we're excited about it. So I cannot wait to share and knock this over. This is the second time I've knocked it over. I'm so sorry. I'm just so excited. So to share and to give everybody what they need to be whole and healthy. So I'm in my home office today, not in the studio. So you're getting to see my office for what it is. I didn't clean it up because I didn't want to. This is how I work. Hi, everybody on Instagram. Hello, everyone on LinkedIn. Hello, everybody on Facebook. Hello, everybody on Yardstream. Hello, everybody on IG. Hello, everybody on what else are we connected to more? And I think we're connected to everyone. And you are going to hear my son in the background. He's in his virtual class, and we're not going to shelter him or close him up because he's in class. He's getting his education. Again, please let me know if any questions you have about building your immune system, about the Mediterranean diet. And we're going to thank our sponsors because I have some awesome sponsors. And our music is playing right now. Thank you, Derek, for my beat. And we are going live. And we're excited about that. Oh my gosh. I forgot to say hello, Japan. We have a lot of listeners and followers in the Japanese community, which is always a blessing and mind-boggling to me. But we do. So thank you, Japan, for tuning in and listening. I hope you learned something today that you did not know before. So let's get ready. This is IITG Seasoned Sisters Speak. I have my man always with me, Warren Green. Warren, say hi to the people.
Hi, everybody. Hope everybody's well.
Yeah, we've got IG going on, and we have, again, all social media platforms. We want to say hello and thank you. We are going to be talking about cancer, quarantine, COVID, and the Mediterranean diet. Warren is going to give us a little background about himself, but I'm Victoria Russell Walton, two-time breast cancer survivor, now COVID survivor. I am a chronic disease educator. I have a lot of titles. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, and I'm a talk show host. And here's my son right here, who's supposed to be in his class, but he's not. So go over there and click on Miss Monica. She's waiting on you, okay?
I accidentally deleted my class.
Okay, well, just bring it here. Mommy will connect it. And this is what we do on live. So, for all of you tuning in, welcome, welcome. Warren, tell them all about you.
Well, I retired from the USDA Food Safety Inspection Service in Washington, D.C. I worked in Washington, D.C. a couple of decades for 20 years. I was a senior staff, and I retired some time ago, and now I write articles, I have articles called Health and Nutrition Strategies for Cancer Survivors. We started off with cancer survivors, and then I said, well, everybody could use this information. So I expanded it to be cancer survivors and everybody else. And then it went on I went on to subtitle it What's in Your Diet. I kind of talk about some of the stuff that's toxic in your diet that you're going to get, that's going to compromise your immune system, and how you might want to avoid it, particularly now that the COVID thing is happening. So I'm looking forward to kind of pulling your coat and letting you know what's going on.
Well, that's what we want to do. We want to educate everyone. And while we're getting started right now, I want to thank our sponsors. We have some wonderful sponsors. So we want to thank AmeriHealth Caritas. They are always in the supporting business. They are always teaming up to make sure we have what we need. I'm also paying attention to questions. And then we also want to thank, while my husband was in ICU with COVID, we had this guy right here. His name is Randy Smith, and he has a COVID cleaning company. They come in, they clean your house, they disinfect your house, and they get all the, in the words of my son, yucky stuff out. So we're very thankful that he was able to come in and clean my house. Very affordable, but it was very important to me that we had, there he is, that we had him come in and clean the house and make sure that the house was ready, not just for my husband to come back, but for us to live in. It was very important for me to make sure that the house was clean. So shout out to Deacon Emergency Management Service. Call him 202-577-2964, Randy Smith, to get your house clean. Again, he did an excellent job, and we're very thankful that he came in and he was a part of assisting us with doing that, and with also cleaning our homes. So shout out to him. Call him if you need him. Again, great service. Let's remove this one. And awesome opportunity to clean your home during this COVID pandemic. Please wash your hands. Please use Lysol. Please wear a mask, but you also have to clean where you are. Warren and I talked about this. You have no idea how much and how many germs you bring into the home just from walking outside, the stuff you step in when you come back into the house. So you have to make sure that you are cleaning your home and cleaning the vents. There's so much we have to do to be whole and healthy. But hi everybody, we're going to dive right into this. We're excited about what we're going to talk about today. So today's topic is COVID, cancer, quarantine, and the Mediterranean diet. So Warren, let's jump into this. We have some questions, and for all of you who hear children in the background, that is my son in his virtual learning class, and this is what we do on live. We're moms, we're single moms, we're single dads, we're parents with spouses, but it's a different world and different time now, so we all have to adjust. So I want to talk about COVID and the amazing part of how some of us go into the hospital and never come home, and some of us come home even with compromised immune system. So Warren, let's talk about what COVID is and the symptoms, because I didn't have any initial symptoms, but when I went down very quickly. So let's talk about COVID, just because everybody is talking about it. We're not going to dwell on it too much. But let's talk about COVID and what it is and what we need to do to prepare and just to continue to be whole and healthy.
Okay, well, COVID is a H1N1 virus, which there are probably trillions or trillions upon trillions. There's probably as many viruses as there are grains of sand on the earth. It's just trillions of them. So most of them are harmless. Most of them your body can handle. You're gonna be. It's another life form really that we really did. They just started looking at since they just got things like the electronic microscope maybe 40 or 50 years ago where they could see these things, and now they can see them. So now they know that they exist. It's a different kind of life form because it's not a plant or animal. It's a virus. It's a parasite. So it needs a host all the time. And it dependent upon the health of the host, that'll determine the severity of any infection that you might get. That's why I always kind of promote fixing your immune system. Right now, there are no therapeutics for this thing. So if you're not healthy and you're ingesting things that are not assisting your immune system, that's going to be a problem.
Mm. Wow.
Interestingly enough, I've been looking at researching this all around the world. And here's one thing: when this thing first came out, they were talking about African Americans were not as vulnerable, which has been disproved because it's
Yeah.
not true.
Yeah.
However, sub-Saharan Africa, there's 43 countries in sub-Saharan Africa, and with a bigger population than all of North Carolina, North America. That's Canada, United States, and Mexico. Sub-Saharan Africa has a bigger population than all of them. Yet they've had fewer deaths than the city of New York.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks volume. But to me, that tells me it's all about how they eat. And I think how we eat, how African American and the Western diet, how we eat is the problem, and that's how people. That's what's making people sick, and unfortunately, that's what's killing people.
Wow. And it's amazing that you say that because I know people who went into ICU with huge immune compromised balances with their body, and they're home, they're healthy. And I know people who were healthy, never ate meat, never had sodas, didn't do the sugar thing, and they're still in ICU fighting for their lives. So it's amazing how it attacks. It's amazing who it attacks, because we used to say, well, if you have a compromised immune system, you have to be very cautious and you have to be very careful. That's still true, but it's not the main factor. It's not the main factor of who gets it and who doesn't get it. So I want people to understand that even though you say, like one guy told me, well, Vicky, I don't eat meat and I don't drink sodas. If I get COVID, I'll be just fine. That's no longer true. We're not for sure what the reason or why it attacks. It's almost like it's picking and choosing. I don't like you, I'm going to take you down. I don't like you, I'm going to take you down. I mean, look at it in the United States. What are we, almost up to 500,000? That's a lot of deaths. And all of those people weren't sick.
Well, there's no test for whether your immune system is healthy. So you can't know because your body will always compensate for it. You'll feel good, but you might not be good. And your immune system might not be functioning like it should. The last Zoom I had, I talked about systems because it's all systems,
Right.
like the immune system, digestive system, they're all together. The immune system. So the digestive system processes the food, and then it feeds all the other systems, the nervous system, the circulatory system, all these systems. So what you want, so you have to start with your immune system, and to make that healthy, you have to be consuming healthy foods. If you're consuming something that might have that's toxic,
Mhm.
and that's gonna cause your body to have to your immune system to have to handle the toxicity, you're gonna have a problem because it's not able to handle the other things that might be around you, like carcinogens and viruses and bacteria and all the things that are available to make you ill. So you don't know. So the best possible thing you could do is to make sure that what is to control what you can control, and that's what you put in your body.
That's what I'm telling people. So because I'm trying to move this so IG can see, IG can only see me right now, and I want them to see you. So IG, I'm experiencing technical difficulties, but the content is still the same and it's still great. So just hold on because I don't want you just to see me. So Warren, when we talk about that, we've talked about eating meat, we've talked about sodas, we've talked about sugars, but I want to focus because this hour goes by so quickly. I want to focus on the diet, the Mediterranean diet, but I also want to talk about three other things that I did that I believe really helped me. And one was sea moss, one was elderberry, and I'm sorry, it's four: breathing techniques and exercising. So let's talk about what we need to do to make us whole and healthy. And I believe exercise is one of the main things. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, exercise makes your body draw in oxygen. Oxygen heals a whole lot of things. So you want to do that. You want to develop your respiratory system, of course, because COVID will damage that. So when you exercise, you're breathing a little deeper, and that's part of exercising. And you're bringing in oxygen into your body, and when you bring in oxygen, it kind of cleans, it kind of fixes your body. So so you certainly want to exercise. It makes your body work. So you're going to be exercising all the time. As far as what you eat, like sea moss which is a polysaccharide. You want that anyway, and you could choose the form. Sea moss is okay. I use psyllium husk, but sea moss is a little more difficult for me to get. So I use whatever fiber you use. I think is a good fiber
Okay.
to me. Because you have to have fiber, and one of the problems with the Western diet is they don't. 75% of the population doesn't get enough fiber. So if 75% of the population is not getting enough fiber, then you have a problem.
Okay.
I have Medicare, and they're asking questions. I had to see my doctor last week. So, and there's a questionnaire going around now from there, and everybody that's a senior citizen or Medicare, which is everybody over 65, they're going to be asked a series of questions about, do you get five fruits and vegetables a day, or so forth, and what does your diet look like? And a lot of people don't. The fruits and vegetables are primarily for the fiber, because that's where fiber comes from. Fruits and vegetables. You can't get fiber from meat. If you're a straight meat eater, you're gonna be deficient in fiber. If you look at the Metamucil commercial, is a wonderful commercial, because it shows what happens when you ingest this fiber. It
Yeah.
just collects everything out of your intestines and drags it out, but to go in your waste, and that's beautiful.
Awesome. So, and that's again what I want people to be careful of. Just because you say you're healthy and you don't eat this and you don't do this and you run 50 miles a day. I know the healthiest people I've known, two Zumba experts, never ate meat, didn't have sugar, didn't drink the sodas. I mean, whole healthy stage 4 cancer, and they passed away unfortunately within months. So it's heartbreaking, and it's kind of discouraging at time, because you look at those people as your models and you say, okay, I'm going to be a vegan, but that doesn't cut out all your problems, and it doesn't cut out every health disparity. Just because you're a vegan now, and you've been a vegan for the past 6 days, for the past 60 years you've damaged your body. So you can't expect those things to happen quickly. You're a magician and you're going to wave it away. Just like these fasts with the teas. I have people hit me up all the time. Vicky, I want you to drink this tea. It's going to help you lose weight. And I said, well, that's great. I'm going to lose 10, 15 pounds in 1 month. Great. But what about the rest of the months? What about the rest of the days? What about if you don't know how to eat and you don't know how to eat healthy, you're just going to pick all of that weight back up when you get finished with the teas. So you want to be very healthy in the decisions that you're making and what you're doing. So speaking of healthy, great segue. Let's talk about the Mediterranean diet. But if anybody have any questions, I am paying attention to all the posts. I have some of your questions. Please feel free to type them in and let us know. So let's talk about the Mediterranean diet. Hi, Keith. Warren, let's talk about
Oh,
the
I'm
Mediterranean.
sorry. I thought you were getting the question.
Nope.
Okay. Well, the Mediterranean diet. Now, the Mediterranean diet is not an actual diet, because in the Mediterranean, Italian, Greek, French, Spanish, all in that region. But it's varieties of cuisine. But it's a plant based diet that allows for a little dairy, a little red meat, a little poultry, period. But it's based upon plant based, and a lot of olive oil, which is a great anti-inflammatory and so forth. Olive oil is a monosaturated oil or fat, which is clearly better than is the best kind of fat, and that's what you would want. And they found that to be to stop inflammation and everything else. And inflammation, like for instance, when you get my age, most people, if you go to the doctor and you're with a pain, they'll say, well, it's probably arthritis. And everybody has that. It seems like everybody accepts that. But arthritis is inflammation, and inflammation is probably something that you consumed.
Yeah.
And probably most inflammatory materials come from the fats, saturated fats. Fried foods are saturated. when you heat up oil, the oil that you cook food in and you fry it,
Mhm.
if that very oil loses its viscosity, like in your car, and your body tries to handle it, your immune system, as a pain, telling you this you might want to adjust because it's causing me pain. If you do it chronically, then it becomes arthritis.
That
So
that's
that's
good.
not. And I will say this, and this is my own experience. When
Mhm.
I was diagnosed with my cancer, I was having serious back pains and and neck pain and everything else. And I went to I did a lecture on the diet like we did now about 10 or 15 years ago, and they took a MRI and showed arthritis all down my spine. I
Mhm.
started looking at remedies because the doctor just said, well, you're 70, you're 60 years old, 70 years old. Yeah, it's arthritis, it's old age. And I started using fish oil and I started using olive oil a lot. They don't see any more arthritis, and I get scans annually, and I haven't had an arthritic flare up in years.
Wow.
That's and I don't even do those kind of I forget what you call it, promotions or whatever.
Mhm.
That's just me. But I promise you that if you start using fish oil or omega 3, not 6 or 9, because 6 will give you pain, omega 3 and olive oil, I promise you those arthritic pains will go away. I promise you.
Wow. And see, that's something systematically our community, African American community, we're used to doing. We're used to frying our foods. But there's a wonderful invention called the air fryer. And I guarantee you, once you start cooking with that, your chicken, if you want to fry it, will still taste like fried chicken. There's so many different recipes that you can use and that you can adjust with doing that. I just sauteed some cabbage last night with beef bacon and garlic and mushrooms and onions and Brussels sprouts. And it was so good. It was a full meal. So you can adjust any recipe to make it whole and healthy, and you don't have to fry it. But I didn't give my due diligence. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm Victoria Russell Walton, and you are listening to It's in the Genes Season Sisters Speak with my co host, Warren Green. We are talking today about cancer, COVID, quarantine, and a Mediterranean diet. You can always call in and yes, it is, Stacy. And let us know your thoughts, 301-683-8690. We're also looking at comments and questions on IG. I apologize that I'm holding this connection, but I don't want you just to see my face. I want you also to see Warren. So this is why you're getting the phone version of that. We want to thank everyone tuning in, especially those in Japan, konnichiwa. And we want to thank our sponsors, AmeriHealth Caritas. And we also want to give shout out to Deacon Cleaning Consultants who came in and let me say the right name, Deacon Emergency Management. Deacon Emergency Management came in and cleaned my house when we had COVID, and they made our place safer, cleaner, and germ free. In the words of my son, they took all of the yuckies out, and I'm very thankful for them. They do cost, but he is affordable, and I suggest everybody do that. If you want your house cleaned of germs and just get a fresh start, just like when the housekeepers come in and clean the house, I suggest you do that with Deacon Emergency Management System. Again, you can reach him in the DMV area. His number is 202-577-2964. And again, we want to shout out AmeriHealth Caritas, who is our sponsor. We're looking for more sponsors, so reach out for us. Sidebar, I have a 4-year-old and he's doing virtual class, and he's not that far from me because everybody who knows my son knows he doesn't like to be far from mommy. So you'll probably hear him in a minute cutting out his dinosaur. Please ask questions. Please let us know. We are paying attention to all of our Oh, we got a lot of questions. All of our social media. So hello everybody on IG. Hello everybody on Facebook. Hello everybody on LinkedIn. Hello everybody on where else are we, Warren? Where everybody talk blog. Hello everybody in South Africa, Georgia, California, Japan. Oh, Alaska. Isn't that something, Warren? They're listening from Alaska. I hope it's warm up there. You guys have all the snow. So again, I'm Victoria Russell Walton. I was gone for a minute dealing with COVID. My husband and I were blessed. He came home from ICU. David and I fought the battle here in the house, and we are better. I'm not 100%. You can hear it in my voice, but your girl is still here and she's sitting up in a chair. So I'll take that. I haven't started to cough yet. So I thank God for covering me. So let's jump back into this. So, Warren, we've talked about the Mediterranean diet and how that can keep you healthy. We talked about sea moss and elderberry and breathing exercise. We talked about vitamins and what to do for vitamins. And we're going to jump into some questions. So this says, how do you deal with having someone in the hospital while you're home dealing with it? I feel very guilty. I'll hop on that. Okay, so look, my husband was in ICU. I couldn't go and see him. David and I was home. I had to call Warren afterwards and say, Warren, what do I do? I can't breathe. David, of course, had no symptoms. He was basically running the house, going to the store, picking up groceries. As I shared with everybody, he had a drone. He was going to pick up tacos yesterday. So the baby is self-sufficient. He'll do what he needs to do. But you shouldn't feel guilty. We're all going through this. And as Warren stated, we have to keep ourselves whole and healthy so that we can live and fight another day. You can't do anything worried about your significant other. Your significant other is in the hospital, probably getting the best care, while we're sitting at home, still doing laundry, still doing the dishes, still cooking, still, taking care of the family. So continue to be whole and healthy, stay prayed up, and don't feel guilty. Make it so that when he comes home or she comes home, you can be the best be that you can be, and then you guys need to love on each other a little bit more because you made it, right, Warren?
Yes, of course.
So, Warren, this is for you. Will we need to update the flu shot every year once we get our two COVID shots?
Uh, it's hard for me to talk about the flu shot because I don't get flu shots. I've never had the flu, so I don't get flu shots. So, but I'm going to get the COVID shot vaccination. I did have a polio vaccination when I was young and smallpox vaccination many years ago. But
Mhm.
the flu, I had concerns about the flu because they said it might be 70% effective, was what it is, and they wasn't sure that the flu shot they could give you would be effective with the flu that's coming out now. That's too much chancy for me, and I'm a gambler, but that was a little too much for me.
Okay, Warren.
It didn't make sense to me, so I don't bother. I haven't had the flu. I have a problem with the whole concept of the flu shot.
Mhm.
This thing is a little different. This virus, this is a whole new concept. This is RNA research that's brand new. That's why they don't have a whole lot of studies, and that's why they just got patents for it and so forth and so on. It's not DNA, but it works off the RNA. It's a whole new thing,
Mhm.
but it seems to work, and it makes sense that it works. It's been around for maybe 20 or 30 years. It's not brand new, but when they first started looking at RNA as a inoculation for viruses, they dismissed it. They
Hmm.
revved it back up when this happened so
Okay.
they could get it out. So now they got these two companies. Moderna is took government finances, and Pfizer didn't. So you're going to get probably Moderna,
Yeah.
because they're going to have to buy Pfizer, but all of it has to be bought. As far as flu vaccines, I really have a problem. I don't even think they make it in America. I don't bother it, so I won't recommend there. I not personally. And I get pushed all the time. I go up to Johns Hopkins for my cancer quarterly. Every time I go, they ask me if I got my flu shot. Every time I tell them I don't do flu shots.
Well, you know what? And that's a personal thing for each person. So I tell people all the time, don't ask me for my personal opinion. I'm like my son, what comes up comes out, but you have to make that decision on your own. And speaking of personal, I'm going to get to everybody's questions, I promise you. But Tammy wants to know what's the best cooking oil to use?
I use olive oil for everything.
Mhm.
And I think it's just, or maybe if olive oil gets kind of costly, or a blend of canola oil and
Sub-Saharan
olive oil.
Africa has a bigger
Okay.
population than all of them. Yet they've had fewer deaths than the city of everything.
Wow.
And I think it's just, or maybe if
That's not
all of
me.
Maybe olive oil?
I use olive oil.
Okay.
Period.
I like
I
that.
use olive oil for almost everything. I now I do. I must admit I have plant based butter that I found, and I use that for some of the things. Other than that, like corn oil, I don't use corn oil. I guess if that's ethanol too, that's what you put in your car. Corn is the worst possible thing they got going all over the place now.
Corn.
It's in all the sodas. I was going to mention about sodas that uh high fructose corn syrup is also corn, or everything. They're using corn for everything. That's one of the major problems with agriculture in America. And maybe at another time I kind of try to explain that. If you read my systemic racism thing, that's what that's all about. And
Yeah.
how they started doing factory farming, and it messed up everything, particularly the black farmer. But we'll get to that at another time.
Yes, because Warren could go on that subject. That subject tugs at his heart. So we're talking about growing your own and being your own, and we are actually doing a seminar on that next month about being your own farmer in your backyard and making money with it. You can make a lot of money with selling your own fruits and vegetables.
Well,
But
you really want to do it, because now we have a new administration, and Cory Booker has a bill out. Senator Booker has a bill out now, of allowing for some grants and everything else for minority farming. Really, really, really pay attention to that. And wherever you are, talk to your senator and your congressman and your political representatives to talk about that and to try to support Cory Booker's bill. It would be in your best interest.
so let me ask you this. So we have some diabetics on the line. So they're asking, as a diabetic, what are the best fruits to eat or fruits to stay away from? What do you think, more?
I don't know. I'm of the opinion that most fruits are good,
Yeah.
and they best to talk to their doctor about their diet. I would say that most that you would want. But I don't know how. And I got a lot of members of my family that are diabetic. I don't want to say I'm not aware of some of the diet, but I would think that fruits and vegetables and any of them are good. All of them are going to have fructose. Fructose is slow getting into the bloodstream, and if you get enough fiber, because fiber is the key even for that. Fiber regulates your blood and regulates your sugar. You want to get your fiber right. That's the most important thing. So you would look at fruits with the highest levels of fiber, of dietary fiber.
So which would be what?
I use pineapple, and I use mine in a smoothie. I
Mhm.
use pineapple. I use berries a lot, but I'm a cancer survivor, so berries work for me.
Right.
And those two for sure. And I like, and I need potassium, so I do that. I eat a banana. There's not a lot of fiber in banana, but I want the potassium from a banana. So those are my three fruits, and my vegetables will be two. I promise you that if you do the 5 fruits and vegetables every day, like you should, like the USDA and all of the rest of them say you should be healthy. All of you can fix anything in your body if you give yourself a body, your body a chance to fix it.
Hmm.
I mean, uh, pharmaceuticals don't cure anything.
They don't. They make you comfortable.
They only
Yeah.
stop the damage.
Mhm.
And so they allow your body to heal itself,
Right.
but they're not healing you. Your body has to heal you, and you can't depend upon things like even inoculations and vaccines. You have to be in control of this thing. The vaccine will just help you from keep you from getting or the virus.
Right.
Perhaps they don't even know
The
that.
but it mutates. It's like the flu. It mutates.
Sure.
It's going to mutate. It's a virus, so it wants to live. That's its job, to find a host to live in. So you have to treat it as such. We already know that there's a mutated COVID-19 virus already here in the United States. So it's not going away. It's like the cold, it's like the flu, and now we have COVID. So we have to be careful. But simple things: wash your hands, wear a mask. If that's what you have to do to be whole and healthy
Well,
and
you want to do that
family, you can do
anyway.
that anyway. Exactly.
You shouldn't have to be told to wash your hands. Wearing a
Exactly.
mask, if somebody's coughing around you, it might be best to try to do that. When
Yeah.
you consider here, and here, let me throw this at you, and for people to think about this. If you were when you were young and got chicken pox, and so, or most little babies and children, I've had chicken pox and everything else. And then maybe 70 years later, they say, well, you got shingles because you had chicken pox, which is telling you that the virus for the chicken pox
We're still
stayed in your body for 70 years. Think about that. And where is it? And why didn't it affect me before? Well, what happens is the shingle virus or the chickenpox virus hides in your nerve sheaths because your immune system can't get into the nerves. If it got into sometimes the immune system, sometimes viruses do get into the nerves and you get an immune disease, like or autoimmune disease. That's where that comes from. But if it gets into the nerve, now if you allow your immune system to get weak, then the shingles comes out and you get and it reacts. That's really what's happening.
well, that's it's amazing. That we don't think about things like that. But hold on, let me do a sidebar. So I'm Victoria Russell Walton, and you're listening to IITG Seasoned Sisters Speak. For some of you who hear a child in the background, my child is in his virtual class, and I have to keep him close to me. So you probably hear my son in his virtual class learning how to make a dinosaur and write the letter H. So praise God for virtual learning, but I have to keep them close. We're working on that, but we're happy to have everyone here. I'm Victoria Russell Walton. I have Warren Green on the line with me. We're happy to be back for the first of the season, and we're excited about it. We're talking about cancer, COVID, and quarantine with the Mediterranean diet, and we're trying to get you whole and healthy and answer all of your questions. So apologies for David in the background in his virtual class. Next week, it will be quiet, but for today, he's got to be here so mommy can keep an eye on him, and that drone. So, but we're trying to educate you about healthy eating. So, Warren, let's talk about fish. What are I like salmon. I'm a fan of salmon. I know people hate catfish. I'm a fan of catfish. Let's talk about fish.
Okay. I, I didn't become a huge fish eater. I lived in the Midwest for a while. You couldn't get a lot of fresh fish there, and I never did gravitate toward fish and healthy. I was a meat inspector. We didn't do fish. I ate meat. I was a meat inspector in the state of New York and for the USDA. So to say I'm partial toward meat, the USDA's job was to promote meat. I will say that I'm all about meat. I watched sausage being made daily. That was my job because I was the inspector. But nevertheless, I fish now. I've gravitated toward fish. Now I live on the sea. I live on the coast, so I live across the street from a seafood restaurant. So I eat fish a little more than I eat red meat now. I find myself a lot healthier and so forth and so on. I don't eat shellfish at all. It's not religious. I don't see how religious people do because the scriptures tell you that you shouldn't be able to eat shellfish or the bottom. So I understand that, and I understand why. It's hot. They're high carriers of hepatitis. So, and that's part of the problem. I didn't understand how shellfish happened, how they harvested. They'll harvest it until somebody gets sick, and that's when they'll maybe close the bed. Well, they're not statistically sampling that before you consume it. So you are their test.
They're
I'm
guinea
not a
pig.
shellfish eater. I don't know how people eat it raw. I don't understand. If you wouldn't drink the water where the fish came from, I can't imagine how you could eat it raw. But that's what happens, so I don't do that. But as the oily fishes like salmon and tuna and sardines and so forth are wonderful. They're high sources of omega 3. We're back to that again, and
Omega 3.
I think it's necessary. Like I said, I take fish oil now all the time.
Yeah. Wow. And that's where, it's amazing because if we had really listened to our grandmothers and great grandmothers, we would have learned about the herbs and the spices. And I have a friend, his mother lives in the Appalachian Mountains, and she can walk outside and tell you, what that weed is good for and what that piece of grass is good for and what tree bark to eat, that'll give you, like, I did not know pine needles were a high source of vitamin C. Pine needles. Pine needles will give you more vitamin C than an orange. I did not know that. And I'm listening to her, say, yeah, if you break that down and you boil it, that'll give you, matter of fact, you can overdose on pine needles with vitamin C. So I'm listening to our elders who've been there and done that and who didn't have all of these new pharmaceuticals, pills that are out, who had to lean on the earth to make them whole and healthy. There's a lot to be said for the knowledge that they have. And I'm really starting to learn a lot from them. But in the meantime, I'm not telling you not to take your pills from your doctor. I'm not telling you that at all. Everybody needs to take their medications, but you can eat a little bit more healthy. You can learn a little bit more about the environment because, that day is coming where we're not going to be able to get to the store. My mother used to talk about there's going to be a day where you can't go to church. And I used to say, Mommy, how is that even possible? And look at us. We can't go. So it looks like we are falling into that time of relying on each other and relying on our community. And that's what we need to do. So with that being said, what's a good, oh, don't ask Warren about milk, but since you asked, buckled up. Warren doesn't like milk. We're not fans of milk on this show. And Warren's going to tell you why, and I'm going to back him up. Go for it, Warren.
Well, actually, when I mentioned earlier in the show about sub-Saharan Africa, the reason why they don't have a whole lot of anything is because they don't get a lot of milk and dairy products over there. That because when you think about it, why would you need a dairy product after you have been weaned from your mother? Period. Dairy is the most popular commodity in any supermarket you go into. It doesn't make any sense to me at all because you don't need it in your diet. Your body can't process it, and if your body can't process it, your body will then respond by giving you a little pain, telling you maybe you might not. The pain will be inflammation, and if you continue to do it, eventually it'll grow into arthritis, become chronic, and become arthritis.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. Period. Because you don't need it in your body. There's no reason for any adult human being to to use the the hormone delivery system for a baby, and that's what we're doing. Just it's not something that you need in your body. It doesn't do the body any good, even though they promote it like that. And the most insidious part about it is that your taxpayer dollar goes to finance the dairy industry, which we can't take advantage of anyway. Only 10% of the population of the whole world can properly process dairy, and that's Scandinavian, of which most of us are not.
Right. So a lot of this goes back into our DNA. I can't believe we have 15 minutes left. I'm Victoria and Russell Walton with IITG Season Sister Speak. I'm here with my co-host Warren Green, who's educating us always about being the best healthy that we can be. So let's talk about being overweight. So this question is, I've tried to lose my stomach. Oh, I'm sorry. Hello, Instagram. Hello, LinkedIn. Hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. Hello, all social media. Hello, Japan. Hello, California. I'm going to put the world map up behind me, spin it, and wave at everybody. So hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in. If you ever need to reach out to us, we're at 301-683-8690. So we're going to talk about belly fat. There are lots of reasons to carry belly fat. There's a lot of reasons to be overweight, especially now that we're home in quarantine. I think my niece Monica is on the line. Monty Munchies. Oh my gosh, Warren! I'm so glad that girl doesn't live anywhere near me. If she lived anywhere near me, I know I would not be able to fit in this chair because she can cook. I've got a lot of nieces and sisters can cook. That girl can cook. So trying to maintain a healthy diet and trying to maintain a balance while you're sitting at home because you're not really going out. So you want to grab the chips and you want to grab the popcorn and you want to grab the soda. But think about this. Sooner or later, we got to go back outside, Warren. Sooner or later, we're going back to work. So are you going back to work 3 sizes bigger? Are you going back to work maintaining your weight? I know I've lost weight. And David and I exercise 30 minutes a day. So Warren, what is your advice or what do you think about exercising? I know they say at least 30 minutes a day, jump rope on the couch, walk during commercials, blow bubbles, run behind a kite, do something, walk to the mailbox backwards. What's your opinion when it comes to that?
Well, I'm a cause and effect person, and let's see what the cause is, and what are the cause of being overweight, and it's because of a unbalance, and imbalances are terrible things because imbalances could be even fatal. You need to want to make sure that everything is balanced. You don't want an imbalance, like we mentioned about high fructose corn syrup. If you don't chew your food thoroughly or you wash it down and it gets down to the liver says, well, I can't process all of this, I'm going to store it. Or like things like high fructose corn syrup can't be processed until it gets to the liver. So it goes through the whole system, gets
Yeah.
to the liver. The liver says, well, okay, we can't process, so it's going to store it. And that's what's happening. Obesity is the storage of all of this stuff.
Mhm.
So what you want to do is kind of control that. Because if you crave things, it's probably because your body's not getting a sufficient amount of the nutrients that you need. If you got all the nutrients, then your body would never crave. You would not want a snack or anything else. That's why I suggest the Mediterranean diet because you'll be satisfied and full, and you won't want to eat anything more. You're gonna exercise because you want to move around so your body so your waist can go all of the things that for your body to function because so the exercise facilitates that. If you exercise regularly, you would never need a laxative or anything else. You're going to be okay. That's that. But the cause, and always look for the cause
Mhm.
and try to eliminate the cause before you try to go after the effect of, okay, I'm overweight, what should I do to lose weight? Well, first let's stop the damage. Let's look at what caused me to be overweight, and it's always something that you consumed.
Right. Right.
It's
And
always something.
and now exercising. I know for a fact most
Well,
people
you
are not
consumed,
exercising.
but it's something you consumed. You
Right.
consumed it, and then and the exercise is what you do to treat it after you consumed it. First, let's get down to what did you consume,
Right.
period, that
Right.
caused you to gain weight. What are
Right.
you craving? What are you missing in your diet that your body's saying, well, I need you to eat potatoes so that I can get iodine or something.
Mhm.
Something is lacking out of your diet.
Right. And Warren made a good point about keeping a food diary so you can actually see what you're eating. Sometimes we don't even realize how much we're snacking until we read it. You're snacking on potato chips, cookies, then you go back to the kitchen for ice cream, and then you go back to the kitchen for, I don't know, chips, Doritos, or whatever. Once you write these things down and you really look at how much you consume, sometimes it's overwhelming. So that may also help you with trying to maintain your weight and see exactly what you're eating and modify what you're eating and equivalent that to something healthy. Like if you have pita bread and you put that in your air fryer, you can use that as chips with hummus. You know, you can do a lot of modifications and make it healthy. So Warren, I appreciate you coming on, and we have 10 minutes left, and I'm trying to get to everybody's questions. So the next one is, what do you think about the steam pot with orange, ginger, lemon, limes? Is that a good thing to still do? Is the steam pot?
Yeah, all of the ingredients are good, healthy.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
So Warren, why would we steam those and just not eat the lemon or eat the lime, or why wouldn't we just eat them?
Maybe it's a matter of taste.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, there's no reason not to eat them.
Is one healthier than the other?
No,
Okay.
it won't be. I mean, when it gets down to the liver, it's all the same.
Okay.
So it's not going to be any different. So I try not to be specific on specific foods because that's a matter of taste. I hate onions. I don't like onions and fried and other. So that's a problem for me, problem for my wife. So it's hard for me to tell you what you might want, what kind of food, because it's a matter of taste. I can tell you the basics. Here's what your body needs. Here are the essential nutrients that you need. And now you can go and dig a little and find out what these essential nutrients and how that fits into what you want to do. I'll tell you a bit about the Mediterranean diet. That there's 3 diets that the USDA so this government recommends. That's the Mediterranean diet, the vegan diet, and the DASH diet. That's all they recommend. I don't like the vegan too much. The vegan is a bit too much for me because I do like some red meat, and a vegan diet is absolutely no animal products at all. So you couldn't wear leather shoes, but that's here nor there, right?
Or a leather belt.
The DASH, right? The DASH diet is, well, that's a spice supplement, a substitute for salt and so forth, which is excellent, and so forth and so on. And I would think I don't know that would be sustainable for your life. But the Mediterranean diet, most of us probably use all of the elements of a Mediterranean diet anyway. But the American Diabetic Association recommends that the Mediterranean diet is a healthy diet pattern that may reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, that's hard, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, and hypertension. That's all of the 3. We know that it reduces cancer. So, and a lot of the studies suggest that if you did a Mediterranean diet, you'd get none of these things. And if you could do a plant-based Mediterranean diet, I call mine modified. I use a Mediterranean diet and I modify it. And what I try to do is at the month of January, which we're going through now, I'm on it now. And if you like it, and after a month, if you're on a particular kind of diet, like a Mediterranean diet, after a month and you like it, it's easy to continue it for the rest of your life.
It is. It is, and it becomes a lifestyle. That's why I'm not big on I have no problems with anyone contacting me. I have no problems with anyone selling these teas that make you lose weight, or coffee that makes you lose weight. But it's a quick scheme to me, because you lose weight, you lose it quickly. But if you don't have the right diet, you're just gonna pick it back up. And if you don't have the right mindset, you can drink that tea all you want to. If you drink that tea and then on the weekend you eat a pan of sweet potato biscuits, you've done yourself no justice. All right. So learn how to be whole and healthy so that it becomes a lifestyle, and just not one of those quick things that's here today. And, it's always a different tea every year. It's always a different coffee every year. Just learn how to exercise, eat healthy, and you'll lose the weight.
Well, I kind of suggest that if you look at the nutrition facts on the back of the labels, not the front. The front is going to be puffery, and it's called a principal display panel. So look at the back. You look at nutrition facts. If your dietary fiber is more than your total fat, you have to lose weight. Have to.
Point blank. There you are. That's what you need to do. And you don't have to listen to me. Statistics prove and statistics show that that's what we need to do. So Warren and I, I love my mother. My mother taught us so much. And, my mother used to say, I don't have to beg you to do anything. I don't have to make you do anything. Statistics prove, and you'll see for yourself what works for you. And then you will want to accommodate your lifestyle because you want to live and be the healthiest you that you want to be. Nobody's going to make you do anything. No one's going to beat you into doing anything, especially now where we're dealing with COVID and not even just COVID, all kind of diseases that we're dealing with. Your body fights viruses that you will never know about because there's, I don't know how many millions of viruses that are out there, Warren, that we're fighting.
Oh,
So
that's what I talked about when I said about the chicken pox.
yeah.
And it's in you, and what's protecting you is your immune system. All of these things. My brother, when he became ill, he had a disease called pemphigus, which is interesting, which is an autoimmune disease. And when we growing up, he had. I come from a large family. There were six of us. Somebody was always sick. He never got sick. He never ever got sick. He never had any of these childhood diseases or anything else. But when he got sick through he had an autoimmune disease. They had to depress his immune system, and in depressing his immune system, all of a sudden he got type 2 diabetes,
Uh-huh.
he got hep C, he got everything. And that tells me that all of these things were being contained by his immune system in his body. They were all hiding there until he got weak, and then they expressed themselves.
Mhm.
That's generally what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, with your body. And you have to give your body what you need so that it can fight. If you're feeding it potato chips and junk and sodas and sugars, you're not giving it
Well,
anything.
soda has no nutritional value. It has nothing. It's
Nothing.
just it's imitation
Sugar.
juice. It just has
It's sugar.
absolutely nothing. It really makes no sense,
Yeah.
really and true. And plus, I tried to find some sodas the other day, because I do fermented grains and fruit, which is wine and stuff. Okay, and
Uh-huh.
because the Mediterranean diet calls for moderate use of red wine.
Hmm.
Actually, the diet calls for it, and your immune system loves fermented stuff like coleslaw, it's substances that are probiotics. Your body loves that, so,
Hmm.
and it makes your body respond good, which is okay. I can live with that. But I found, if your immune system is strong, then you can handle any disease that comes your way. The
Exactly.
problem is when you don't, and when it's not, and you can't tell that your immune system has been compromised. I suggest that you eat it like we talked about chicken and so forth. Well, I know that 90% of the chickens harvested and sold in America has arsenic in it because they put it in the feed. Well, that's going to damage some part of the
Your body.
population. Some
Yeah.
part of the population.
Yeah.
Some part of the population can't handle that. Period.
Of
And we
course,
don't
it's
know who that
arsenic.
is.
It's arsenic. Arsenic in the chicken.
Right.
You don't even think about those things or the ingredients that go in the chickens. And, that's why it's important to read the instructions. Is it farm free? Are they caged? Are they, running around? I love the Amish market. To me, the Amish market, their meat is fresh. Their meat is better to me. And you can get more things. Like I love the honey. The honey helps me with my coughing. The honey helps my son with his digestion. So I am looking and I'm paying attention. No cheese. There was a time that for some reason I wanted cheese, but I've learned cheese is not my friend and it's not good for me. And I also see that there's a lot of mucus when you are eating a lot of cheese. Your body is focusing and fighting the mucus that's in there. My son
It's
knows.
fighting the cheese. It's fighting. It's
Yeah,
fighting the the,
for
the, 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 the
today,
milk protein and stuff in the cheese, which causes mucus, of course.
Yeah. And those are things that we're learning about. But I cannot believe our hour is almost over. And with it being my first one back in over a month, I was excited. I'm in my home office. Everybody sees my disco ball for my pinky party, which we're going to get started back. But I definitely wanted to make sure that we came on. Next week, we are going to jump in to two guests that we have dealing with mental health, illness, and starting a business. You can always reach us at 301-683-8690. I am so honored to always have Warren Green with me on IITG Season Sister Speak. We appreciate everyone tuning in. We know that you're going to share this. We know that people are going to pick this up. IG, thank you. Here we go. YouTube, thank you. Facebook, thank you. LinkedIn, thank you. Hello to everyone that tuned in, especially Japan. Konnichiwa. Thank you for our sponsors today, which was Deacon Emergency Services to come and clean your house of COVID, and AmeriHealth Caritas, who are doing some great work in the community. Thank you for everyone that's listening and tune in. Warren, I am going to give you 30 seconds to say something.
Okay, I hope everybody begins. Just start jotting down, do a dietary log, figure out what you're eating every day.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out what you're eating, and maybe the next time we get together, think about, and you can tell me how you feel. I call my operation optimizing. I optimize a month to see how I feel. If I feel good, I'm 81 years old. I feel excellent. I don't have any, my mind is generally alert and everything else. And I'm 81.
Yeah.
Test me.
Well, there you go. He's 81 and I'm 55, and I'm a two-time breast cancer survivor, now COVID survivor. We're doing our thing in the community. We're trying to educate and empower, and we're also going to have a major session on growing your garden and making money while you grow a garden. A lot of you have dirt in your backyard. You need to put some, as they say, money in the ground and start seeing some seeds grow up. Even if you grow flowers, flowers are another great source of income. They're beautiful. I don't know about anybody else, but the Russell ladies love flowers in the house. That's just one thing that we do. So I thank you for tuning in to IITG Season Sister Speak. We look forward to seeing you next Thursday at 1 o'clock. Again, please share, please shout out, please tune in. And please be whole and healthy and be kind to each other. Wear your mask. Don't sneeze on anyone. If you have to, do it in your elbow. Oh, thank you, Joan. Yes, the COVID is gone away until the next episode, as they say, because there'll always be something else. We will be ready. Warren and I have our shields and our swords, so we're ready. I might just wear my Supergirl costume the next time. I like that costume. So until the next time, everyone, I'm Victoria Russell Walton with our host, Warren Green, and we'll see you next Thursday, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Season Sister Speak. Be blessed.
You are what you eat.
You are
what you eat.
You are, you bag of potato chips. Get off that couch.
You are what you eat.
Yes, you are. Thanks, Warren. See you next Thursday.
Okay.